This one's a double feature because these two films are both portraits of what it means to work some entry-level temporary job with a crew of people who are really equally stranded in the same in-between or liminal space that is a summer job, where everyone is just trying to get through the shift, the week, the summer, and so forth. Each of these movies portray honest accounts of being a young person navigating that ephemeral American summer, and each film does that by making you care intensely about the ecosystems that were always going to be temporary. In Empire Records, the crew is fighting against this corporate takeover of their beloved privately owned record store. The threat is existential and imminent. Within days, the place they've quietly organized their lives around will be renamed, rebranded, and stripped of everything that made it theirs. Some characters are heading off to college, others are at personal crossroads that have nothing to do with the store, at least on the surface. But the looming takeover, the looming corporatization of their record store is what organizes all of the main plot points, because the store isn't just a store. It has its own life. It's the reason this particular constellation of people exists together at all. The fact that Empire Records bombed at the box office, it had a $10 million budget and made roughly $300,000, almost feels appropriate in retrospect, and not to gatekeep it, but it makes it a true blue cult classic. It is a cult classic in the truest sense. It was a film that had no use for the masses, but found exactly the audience that needed it. Its plot is technically just save the record store, which I love, and it boils down to save our youth in some way, which is really just please let this last a little longer. They're basically fighting conformity, which is really just fighting, uniforms, which sounds small, but also it's not that small, because what they're really fighting for is the right to remain who they are just a little while longer in this one place that lets them be exactly that. In Adventureland, the protagonist has just finished college and is killing a summer at a Pittsburgh amusement park before a planned move to New York City, a move that exists at the end of the summer like a door he hasn't decided if he's walking through yet. It's always just kind of there. The park is a means to an end. It is the path to get there, financially. But that's the point. Both films understand that the jobs themselves are almost always beside the point or a means to an end. What matters is who you end up standing next to in the parking lot at the end of the shift. The plot of each film operates almost like a smokescreen. Empire Records has its corporate villain and its ticking clock. Adventureland has its romance and its coming-of-age beats, but neither film is really about those things. What both films are about is that specific culture that forms when a random group of people are thrown together in a low-stakes, temporary environment and left to become something. We root for the record store not primarily because we care about corporatization, although we do, but because we've fallen in love with the people inside it, and the store is the only reason they're in the same room. We care about Adventureland, the theme park, for exactly the same reason. There's something genuinely profound about looking back at these jobs that most of us eventually leave behind, that pay badly and ask a lot of us and are tedious, and feeling some sort of nostalgia not for the work but for the world that the work accidentally created. Empire Records and Adventureland both nail that specific ache. They're not pretending these summers were perfect. Adventureland is pretty honest about how much its protagonist's summer kind of sucked in real time, but the film understands the silver lining that only becomes visible in retrospect. Those jobs could be genuinely pivotal, specifically because of who you met there and how much joy was available in the margins between the misery and the banality of whatever you were actually supposed to be doing. Adventureland is set in the 80s, but that's not a marketing strategy. The film barely leans on it. It is a period at all. It is not interested in nostalgia as a costume. It is interested in the growing pains that translate across generations, the specific texture of being young and under-equipped for adulthood and suspended between the life you've had and the one that's waiting for you. Any nostalgia felt there is through osmosis. Eisenberg's character in Adventureland begins the film completely ill-equipped for the prospect of what's coming, a plan that dissolves almost immediately, a future that suddenly has no co-pilot, a summer he didn't choose. By the end, he walks toward the next chapter without a backup plan, without the friend he was supposed to go with. That is his arc, not a triumph exactly, but a genuine one. What makes that arc sharp is its contrast with Connell, the park's resident, aging cool guy, who, in a very Matthew McConaughey-like fashion in Dazed and Confused, simply cannot leave. He can't grow, he can't change, he can't stop embellishing the story of the time he played with Lou Reed, a claim so worn down to repetition that he can't even reliably remember the name of the song anymore. He clings to Adventureland the way he clings to every story that makes him feel like someone. The park is his entire identity. For Jesse Eisenberg's character, whose name I'm not going to look up because I'm lazy, it's just a passing summer on his way to the next thing. That contrast says everything. Empire Records has a similar dynamic, with characters who are clearly going to carry this place with them into whatever comes next, and at least one who may never leave it behind. Both films are critically underrated and both have unbelievable soundtracks, which seems completely relevant to both plots.